There's never been a better time to have SiriusXM, with even more exclusive content that you can't find anywhere else. Like over 140 channels in your vehicle, including the widest, deepest variety of music, ad-free. Root for your team anywhere you are. Get news from every source. Listen to whatever makes you laugh. And hear all about your favorite stars and what's going on right now. And now, your All Access trial includes more than ever before to enjoy online, on your phone, or at home on devices like smart TVs, connected speakers, and more. First time, create your own ad-free personalized stations powered by Pandora. Hear ad-free extra channels filled with music for every mood, occasion, or activity. And enjoy a backstage pass to your favorite shows with SiriusXM Video, including Howard Stern. Not to mention thousands of hours of shows and performances on demand. The best part? It's all included in your All Access trial subscription. Start enjoying it all in your vehicle, on your phone, online, and at home today. What you love is on now.
Hey guys, thanks for joining. We are, of course, live right here on CMA Live, presented by SiriusXM for yet another exciting episode. Of course, if you're into the 12-volt market industry, if you're passionate about it, if you're in the industry, this is the episode to tune into. We are already, believe it or not, at episode 7. And tonight we are rolling out a topic which I've been personally looking forward to this entire season, and we have worked. I mean, the CMA team has worked incredibly hard in assembling the guests and the panel that we have joining us tonight. What are we talking about? We're talking about head units, source units, whatever you want to call it. We're talking about those awesome black boxes with cool screens and buttons that everybody loves. More importantly, talking about the technology and the trends that have been affecting head units, their development, and most importantly, how we can leverage these features to increase your sales and your installs. I'm your host, Ben Wu, and for the next 90 minutes, we're going to go through every brand. All the big brands are in the house tonight. Whether we're talking about Alpine, we're talking about Sony, JVC, Kenwood, Pioneer, they're all here. And we're gonna find out the goods. My job is to get you guys the goods. Of course, keep it interactive through our comments. You know, you can go ahead and post the questions, and we'll do our very best to try to get your questions in front of the right professional, depending on the brand or what the question is. But of course, you know, I can't do this alone. So I need a co-pilot. I need somebody that is on the inside, that understands installations, that understands the business of all things. And that person is, of course, our in-house tech specialist and owner of Lockdown Security. Let's bring him on, Mr. Jeff Bates. What's going on, Jeff?
Hey, Ben, how are you? I'm excited for tonight's episode.
You know, I thought the last episode was pretty darn exciting. This episode for me has my head is spinning. My head is spinning because I have so many questions, so many things that I want to know. These are brands that are iconic. You know, growing up, being a car audio enthusiast, we've seen the evolution of the head units and how much they've changed. The evolution has been extraordinary. Wouldn't you agree?
I would totally agree. It's been absolutely extraordinary. And, the future is going to be even crazier with what's going to be coming with some of the new techs coming out. So I'm excited for the guests we have tonight and the brands that they represent. And I think that it's going to be an episode that nobody wants to miss. That's for sure.
Oh, absolutely not. And, having you on board, Jeff, I mean, you have done, touchy-feely. You've played with all the models, all the brands. You've installed them. think you're going to bring an interesting perspective to the conversation.
For sure. Yeah. The head units, as many people probably watching have seen our YouTube videos, it's one of the most popular topics that we make videos on because, the head units are what really bring the excitement to the industry because that's what you touch and feel every day. That's what you interact with when you're in your vehicle. And so much is changing so fast and so many different form factors that, I'm really, really pumped to talk to the guests that we have just to go through what's new and things that I don't know that they can shed light on.
Well, I'm going to count on you, Jeff, to make sure you're taking notes, that you're paying good attention to what these guys are saying so that you could come up with the right questions at the end. But to kick off the night, we had this great idea to bring on somebody that affects all head units, because who we're bringing on not only is our presenting sponsor, but also represents a service that is so important and is so accessible and is so connected to all these brands. And that, of course, is SiriusXM. SiriusXM sponsors our show. We're very fortunate to have them. But it's also something that touches everybody because it's not just music, right? It's news, it's shows, it's entertainment. But hey, why am I talking about it when I can bring on the guy that can tell us all about it? Let's bring on Mr. Paul Truman, the Senior Sales Director for SiriusXM. Welcome to the show, Paul.
Hey, great to be here. Thanks a lot, Ben.
Well, thanks for taking the time. Now, so from what I understand and what I've heard from your counterpart here in Canada, Ricky Lima, is that you are like the SiriusXM encyclopedia. Did you get that right?
It's very close to that. I would say I'm more of the Reader's Digest version, but yes, very close. Cliff notes.
Very close.
But yeah.
You saw that clip in the beginning of the show, and it really demonstrates, the various levels of entertainment that SiriusXM offers. What makes SiriusXM so unique as a service? And maybe we can start.
It's interesting.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Yeah. So what's interesting is, and that's actually a very good question, is what makes us unique. We're actually one of the largest audio subscription companies in the world, actually. We have, and not a lot of people know this, but we have over 34 million subscribers. To be unique, we have to constantly evolve. For example, we just purchased Stitcher Radio, which is one of the most popular podcast listening apps out there that streams over 300 shows. Not to mention, we have 140 channels of audio goodness that you get in your vehicle. Almost all of our subscribers include access to our app, which includes over additional 200 channels, as well as video content, which you saw in the opening video. So you kind of have to, and then you also have to say, what does all that mean? And it basically takes all your music, news, talk, and you wrap it all up into this little slice of heaven we call SiriusXM.
Man, that is a lot to digest. I think we have a visual about that. You want to bring that up for us? We have our producer here. Nope, not the offer. The first slide, please. We'll take. Yeah, that's a great offer. We're going to talk about that in a second. But that while we had that on, though, that is the other question. While I was trying to cut in, but you weren't finished your spiel. And the real question I really want to ask you about is the SXV 300. That is a model that we've talked about in previous shows. It's a model that affects everybody that's on the show tonight. Let's talk about that. What the SXV 300 for those who don't know.
So the SXV 300 basically is, I think anyone on this show right now knows that it's a small black box that plugs into the back of any of the partners head units that are sitting here on the that you'll hear from tonight. But there's a couple key features that a lot of people understand that is going on in the background. From the time the customer actually turns on their head unit, the SXV starts to buffer. And what that means is that we have four key features that, because it's buffering, we have a feature called Tune Start. And what Tune Start does is, once it starts buffering, when your customers have your 6 presets, which is basically the number of presets everybody has on their radio because it's their 6 favorite channels, every time you tune to that preset, the song starts right from the beginning, which is a really nice feature. So you're never in the middle of that song going, oh, crap, I love that song, and it didn't start, but it does. We also have a feature called Tune Mix, again, because it's buffering. What that's doing is it's saving almost an hour of every one of the presets that you have. So I'm about to date myself, but if you remember when your CD changers used to have a shuffle feature, your shuffle feature would basically choose songs throughout all your discs. What this one does is it takes songs from all your presets and plays them one after another. So you could be listening to a song that's on preset 1 now, and then the next song could be a song from preset 6 that to go on that channel. So that's a really cool feature because it's basically taking all of our content and just putting it at your fingertips. Now, if you have music ADD like I do, Tune Scan is phenomenal because you just hit that button, it plays the first couple of, the first 10, 15 seconds of every song that it's got buffered until you find one you like. Or for me, that's about enough that I have to listen to. But what all of this does is it takes almost, if you've been driving for an hour, instead of having 6 presets with 6 songs, you've actually got 6 hours of programming that you can go to any of your channels and just hit on any of them, which is really, really kind of cool. So now that you sit there and you understand what's going on, you understand why our programming is unique, you understand the product and how it gets all of its goodness and these kind of really cool features right here. You need to know, what does your customer get when they purchase one of these units? And the offers that we have for your customers is simple. You've got 3 months of free service, which is valid on any radio that we sell. But at the same time, on the SXV300, your customer also gets an $80 mail-in rebate. And what does that mean? Well, that's simple. That means that you sell the product at MSRP of $79.99, and your customer gets it for free. And all they do is they just go online or call our number, activate it, and then from there, all they're doing is filling out the rebate form, sending it in. So that's really cool for your customers, but what's really good for you guys? And that's really what's more important. So for you guys, it's all about being profitable. How do you add on to the head units that you're selling today? How do you make more money without more customers coming in? And SiriusXM is probably one of the only accessories that you can sell to a customer that essentially is getting it for free, yet you make money. So to put it simply, let's say you make about $25 on the actual tuner. You charge a little bit of money to install it, maybe $50. I know some people charge more, some people charge less, but even if you give half of that to your installer and you've got another $25 of profit, you're basically making $50 more profit for every head unit you sell. Your customer is getting the tuner for free. Your customer is getting 3 months of free service. You're making an extra $50. You're kind of sitting there going, I should be offering this with every single head unit I sell, because the worst thing your customer can say is, no, I don't want it. But if you get 2, 3 more people saying yes, you're making that much more money, which is actually, well, last time I checked, a really, really good thing. To do that, obviously, we've got POS materials for your showroom floors. We've got showroom demo services and associate service plans. And of course, you contact your authorized distributors to get that information. But the showroom demo is probably one of the most important things I can recommend to actually have in your location. Being able to show these features and being able to demonstrate SiriusXM on any of your head units that you sell is also another great way of showing what your head unit can do. So the head unit only does as many things as what it's capable of doing. And by adding SiriusXM to it, it does one more thing, and it gives them a higher level of use between that head unit. And at the same time, when they leave the vehicle, they can still use that service in their house. They can use it while watching, while on a Bluetooth device on their TV, We have so many different things, including Alexa, that you can actually hear our streaming service from. And of course, it kind of slipped a little bit, but there is definitely buy-in specials, and Ben will actually be able to show us what's going on with that. And then the POP information, or the stuff that actually helps sell the stuff within your stores, whether it's a poster, whether it's a window cling, of course, the TerraPad. It's a simple promotion. You've got the head unit wraps and, of course, the danglers. These all call out what the offer is. So when it comes to SiriusXM, you have to think about, why is it unique? Well, we're kind of everything you need in one place. The product itself, well, that's simple. It's free. It's good for your consumer. Your customer, they get a free tuner. They get free service. It's good for you guys because, well, let's be honest, you make more money with no more customers coming in, and it's a great add-on for increasing your ticket sales. And then you just put up some POP, you get some demos, and you get to experience SiriusXM. I think, Ben, that's everything I've got, and I think I did it in my allotted time.
I'll tell you what, I was pretty impressed how efficient you were, Paul. I was a little bit worried because that was a lot to talk about. But I had something that I wanted to add to that. And you were talking from a dealer perspective, and I think that's very important because, as you can see, a lot of the viewers that we have are dealers. And a lot of the dialogue that I hear is exactly why present it to the customer. And one thing I think that is super important is at the point of install, especially if they're changing head units. You're already under the dash, guys. You're already taking, doing what it takes to change the radio. It's that much easier to get in that SXV 300 right then and there than to expect the customer to circle back at a later point, right? To make that sale when you could do it right then and there. That's how I see it. What do you think of that, Paul?
I agree. And not only that, especially in the vehicles that have the OEM antennas, if all you're doing is adding an adapter to change the plug to the SXV 300 antenna plug, all of a sudden that is two plugs. It's in. You've made money. Your customer's happy. It's almost a no-brainer.
Let's bring in Jeff Bates real quick. I know he's got at least one good question for Paul here. Jeff, where are you at, buddy?
Here I am, Ben.
Yeah, I know you're a big fan of Sirius. What question do you have for Paul after his little presentation there?
The question I would have is there any plans with the SXV 300 to include any of those antenna adapters in the future, or is that something that the dealers should still kind of source out on their own?
You would go through the accessory companies with. The problem with that is, since we don't manufacture them, we would have to test them with every single car to validate them and say, yes, they're 100% approved by SiriusXM. But if Idatalink and Metra and the different companies that create them do them, we have no say in it. Mm-hmm. We know they work, but let's be honest. That way, we don't have to go through that.
For sure.
So my last question to you before we bring up this awesome offer that we put together. We've got the head units on tonight, Paul. I know you know a couple of them personally. What are you most excited to hear from them?
I personally love the new screens, the larger screens, the installability, and being able to put them in different vehicles now. Personally, I am like the Switzerland of head units. I personally love them all because they all take my product, so
absolutely.
I can't say a bad thing about them. But I can, but not on the webinar.
We'll do that in the back studio a little bit later on. All right, so the last time we had a Sirius special, you guys met it with great success. So we were going to run it, and here we are talking about this episode. Is myself, Ricky, and Paul. And Ricky and I were like, yeah, let's run that, that discount again. And Paul puts down the hammer and says, no, this is a special episode. We've got all the head units on. We're going to do something crazy. Sheldon, would you mind bringing up the special that SiriusXM has put together? Check this out. Guys, no joke. SiriusXM putting SXV 300 model. Last time it was 10%. This time, for 2 days only, you're going to save 15% off your cost. All you need to do is contact your authorized SiriusXM distributor to place your order. The offer is only valid until the end of day Friday. That's 2 days from now. The promo code is there, CMA SXV15. We'll make sure we get this artwork up on our Facebook page so you have all the details. But there it is. If you ever thought of a time to stock up on SXV 300s, Paul Truman, SiriusXM, has made this happen. 2 days only, 15% off your cost on SXV 300. Thanks a lot, Sheldon. Paul, that's an awesome promo.
I would say that if there is anyone listening to this, I can honestly say, if you do not take advantage of it, you should not be in car. That simple.
That's
there
it.
You go.
Paul's done it, that's it. Hey, Paul, thank you so much for joining us tonight. I'm really happy to have met you and really happy to understand the service and the product that SiriusXM is. And again, thank you for support on the show.
Thanks ever so much. Thanks a lot, guys.
All right, we'll talk to you in a bit.
Thanks.
All right, that was Paul Truman from SiriusXM. But now it's time to get into the nitty-gritty. And by nitty-gritty, of course, we're talking about the head units. We've got Alpine, we've got Sony, we've got JVC, Kenwood, and Pioneer. I think tonight we're going to start off with our good friend, Chris Tegu from Alpine. He's the national trainer, joining us all the way from California this evening. Let's get right into it, starting with Alpine Electronics. Chris, what's going on, brother?
How's it going, man? Good to see you. Thanks for having me.
First of all, thank you for making my background look inadequate and unprofessional compared to yours. Yours looks like a Howard Stern studio. Mine looks like I'm in my living room with a printed backdrop. So thank you for that.
You look good, man. You look good, man. No
I also appreciate the tight fade for the show, bro. That's always a plus. I like that. Alpine, man, like legendary player in the game. My fondest memories of Alpine are the Alien cars. The RSX and this. I mean, that was in the heyday, right? When Alpine dropped that, it was like, oh my god, this is like so next level. But man, have head units changed, quite a bit since that time. Why don't I start off by, here's the question: what are the latest trends emerging from Alpine right now for this season? Like right now, what are the trends that are going down?
Well, I think what's interesting is we kind of started. We were one of the first to start that trend of that large oversized display and kind of that standard din or double din hole, and that's just going to keep growing. I think that's really the key, and you can see across several of our colleagues in the industry, that's really what customers are getting drawn to, is this large format displays in places that you wouldn't expect them to actually fit. So you'll probably see more of that. Obviously, what's interesting is when it comes to head units, a lot of it kind of lines up with smartphone technology. Really, people are just trying to get better interaction, faster, wireless interactions with their phone in their vehicle. And, you have to keep up with that. But of course, when it comes to Alpine, we always want to be innovative. Everyone wants to get that smartphone to work, but at the same time, we want to be unique. We don't want to just be the black box that mirrors your phone. We want to continue to create new innovative ways to grow business in 12 volt and let people have fun in their car, right? So,
very, very cool. We got a slide here that you prepared. What are we looking at here?
So this is one of the products that we have that kind of talks to the idea of growing business on top of just the head unit sale. Now everyone knows that discovery customer. That's what we kind of call it. Is the customer that's going into 12 volt, going into a shop, because all they want to really do is connect their phone to their car. But we think there's a lot of opportunity to build on that, and this is really where this product came from. The ILX W650 is super popular radio, obviously a really great price point, gives you CarPlay, Android Auto, and what we wanted to do is bring those customers into your shops and then give them the opportunity to grow on top of that. And that's what power stacking actually does. So power stacking is I wouldn't call it a technology, but it's a method of connecting an amplifier that's perfectly fit to the back of a radio to mount directly to that 650. So you're actually, taking a standard head unit sale and growing that to a amplifier sale, right? So what you're seeing there is actually our KTA 450. It's a power pack. We've done power pack for forever. This particular power pack is that next evolution with the technology we call DPP. So that particular amplifier can actually produce upwards of 100 watt by 4 DPP in bursts. So you're basically getting a double din radio in the shape of a double din radio that's the most powerful in the market at this point at 100 watt by 4. So this year, what we did was we introduced a monoblock version of that, because what we discovered over the last couple of years with PowerStack is people who had that extra budget that bought the 650, what they wanted to dedicate that money to was increasing bass. And, we all know that bass is kind of that really quick, impactful upgrade that people want in their car that really changes the way the experience is in the car. So we actually came out with, it's actually the previous slide, but don't worry about it. It's actually the monoblock amplifier that mounts to it. So that's the KTA 200M. Right. So the slides you're on now, again, this was the Halo, the thing we brought in about 3 years ago to start. And next month, actually, we're actually launching the 11-inch version, which is going much larger than our 9.
Can I just stop you right there?
Yeah,
That's like
sure.
11 inches.
That is an 11-inch diagonal. Absolutely.
Is this where the market is going? Because I didn't even that is really big for a car.
It's big. I mean, obviously, it has limitations depending on the vehicle you have. Blocking vents and things like that. Obviously, we have trucks and SUVs kind of close to our heart when it comes to developing products. So a lot of these look great in like your F-150s and the larger dash vehicles, and they look normal in there because it's a big dash. You're sitting way far back.
Yeah, the center console is wide enough, right? So
right.
But I mean, putting that in a compact vehicle, you might not get any heat.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Exactly. You're just like.
Okay, very cool.
Right.
No, continue, please. Tell us about this Halo 11.
So, I mean, again, the Halo 11 is really an evolution of our previous generation, which is the 259, which many of our installers may be familiar with. But we have very I guess I would say a UI that's very familiar, very smartphone-like, so you can kind of customize it the way you want with different widgets. You can change the background how you want, but it has all the basic functions that you would expect in a radio like this. So you have the CarPlay, the Android Auto, and that was the 259. So taking it to this year, we're actually coming out with the 11 and adding to the key features that people have been asking us for, which was iData Link Maestro, of course, so that you can do OEM integration as well as the HDMI input and output. So we're kind of taking a formula of this super large scale head unit that has a really great factory finish, the nice look and feel, and then we're just adding to it for this year.
I like the fact that it's super big, super clean, but if I see correctly, I mean, those are also buttons on the bottom edge, right? So it's not just touchscreen.
Right. Well, so the buttons are actually touch. So
those are touch. Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, those are actually touch buttons. We really wanted to keep it clean. We want to keep it flat. Didn't want any mechanical. When you add mechanical, buttons, more things can go wrong and things like that. So that's kind of the positioning we took with this particular application.
Very, very cool. What about vehicle-specific applications? And maybe that's something we could talk about on the next slide.
Sure.
Is Alpine getting into that type of stuff?
Well, vehicle-specific, we really focused in many years ago on restyle. And during those restyle days is really where we kind of started with the oversized display. We had an 8-inch display 6 years ago when we had in Jeep Wranglers and trucks and SUVs, and we've kind of taken that evolution of the Jeep radio to this particular unit. So this is the X409 Wrangler JL. It's basically like the epitome of head unit for a Jeep Wrangler JL. It's water resistant, so if you have to, we heard from our customers, obviously, they like to spend a lot of time with the top off. So we wanted to make sure that the head unit was weather resistant for those, the peace of mind for customers. We've also, this is a 9-inch display, embedded navigation. So basically the ultimate Jeep Wrangler head unit with like off-road navigation. We've really spent the last 3-4 years tailoring our products every year to exactly what that Jeep customer wants. And that's what we've achieved, I believe, with the X409.
That's very cool. So a vehicle-specific application with specific features, such as the waterproof feature,
right? Exactly.
For Jeep enthusiasts. Very, very neat. I have some generic questions for you before I bring Jeff on.
Sure.
What do you feel at this point in the game that Alpine brings to the table that separates you guys? If somebody's looking at perhaps taking on your line.
Mm-hmm. So Alpine, we've been in the game for a long, long time, as many of you may know, and we've invested a lot in reliability, and we have a really great relationship with our OEM, and in that relationship has developed testing methodology and certifications that really step up our reliability when it comes to car audio. One of the questions that are brought up to me is, why do car audio head units cost more than like a smartphone? And people don't understand that there's a lot of things that go into a vehicle electronic that might not on a phone. For example, it needs to operate at various temperatures. It has to operate when the car is doing this. So there's a lot of things that are contributed to the reliability aspect, and Alpine really has that nailed down. And I think most people who know our brand believe that we are that top tier reliability product.
Very, very well said. So. Let's bring on Jeff Bates. I know he's been paying attention. Jeff, what do you have for Mr. Chris here?
You know what? I've got a ton of notes as usual. I just wanted to say, I really respect Alpine because you guys are pretty much the originator of the floating screen radios, and the Halo 9 has been a very popular unit, and we love to sell it, and we think it's a great unit, and I'm excited to see the larger one coming. My first question would be related to one of the features I really like about the Halo, which is the accessory, the KAC001 for lighting and switch outputs. Is that accessory going to continue on the new head units? And is there any changes with that, or any differences for the new models with that?
So the accessory controller was specific. We designed it for the Jeep Wrangler customer, right? So that we understood that people had all these switches in their car, and they wanted to kind of reduce that and get a cleaner look and control it from their head unit. So we kind of use that within a certain platform. So that platform is slowly transitioning to a new platform next year. We're hoping to bring that one in, the KAC 001, and they should work with the new units that come in. We don't have quite. I can't really share yet the path for this accessory controller, but it's definitely on top of mind with us, especially with our customers.
Perfect. And then that would next lead into the HDMI and the other input connections. Is that a full-size HDMI connection on the back of something like the F411 or the F409, or is that going to be an HDMI mini?
Oh, it's full-size.
Full-size? And then I've noticed on some of the new manufacturers that USB-C is starting to be adopted as a connection method. Is that something that's going to be transitioned into as well on the back of the Alpine radios, or still full-size USB?
As far as I understand, for the next year or so, it'll probably still be the standard USB. In most cases, especially in a vehicle, you can add components to that cable to make it a little more sturdy when it comes to mounting to the vehicle or to the head unit. So if you're driving around, it doesn't pop off. A small connector like that can be susceptible to things like that. Of course, until somebody finds a better way of using it. But as of right now, as far as I know, we're using the standard. Okay.
And then I was actually kind of wondering, with regards to the power stacking amplifiers on the back of the radios, I have a limited experience myself with those. We haven't sold a lot of that through my shop, but I've always wondered, are there, obviously the amps are probably going to be designed for efficiency in mind, but is there ever any concerns with heat buildup behind the radios, or gauge of power wire and such for some of these amplifiers as they get bigger?
Yeah, so one of the things that kind of helps us when it comes to, heat mitigation is DPP, that technology I mentioned before. It's really a way for us to manage how much output of heat that amplifier has. The cool thing about the design of it is that amplifier's heat sink actually radiates backwards. And since you're using an amplifier in that application, you're more than likely not using the internal amplifier of the head unit, which is what generates most of the heat. So in the many years that we've had, it's only been a couple of years, we haven't had any complaints about heat problems between those two products.
Very
cool. Jeff, awesome questions, buddy. I know you're paying attention. I told you, Chris, you were paying attention. One thing we should definitely mention here, of course, we're, Canadian Mobile Audio.com, or, most of our listeners are Canadian. Now, Alpine in Canada is distributed exclusively through Gentech International. They take care of anything Alpine. If you guys are looking to sign up or order some Alpine product, even if you called Alpine USA, you told them you're in Canada, they're going to send you to Gentech. But there's a great warranty, I think, that the Gentech and Alpine offer too, isn't there?
I believe so. I think that's,
it's a 3-year, I believe, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
Sounds about right. Yeah.
3-year if installed at an authorized Alpine vendor.
There you go. I knew there was something interesting there. Hey, Chris, why don't you hang around? We're going to have a little roundtable discussion at the end of all this. But thank you so much for the presentation.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks, Chris.
All right, guys.
So there you have it. That was Chris Tegu from Alpine Electronics. And we're not going to waste any time. We're going to jump right into the next, heavyweight brand when it comes to electronics globally. Man, they do everything, but they do car audio exceptionally well. Let's go ahead and bring on Chris Bula, the national trainer for Sony Car Audio. What's going on, Chris? Welcome to the show.
Good evening, Ben. How are you?
I am fantastic. So you heard Chris's fantastic presentation. I know that you've got something up your sleeve as well, and you want to tell our listeners, all the interesting things that Sony's got going on. What are some of the latest offerings or trends that Sony feels is, leading the way?
Well, so Chris brought it up. They were kind of the tip of the spear with the floating face radios, the large screens going into the dashes, and clearly, we as competitors, but also well respected kind of friends in the industry. We want to capitalize on that as well. So we introduced our 9-inch screen last fall and have done very well with it. And I know Jeff asked earlier, and you did too, about kind of our direction, going with tablets and things like that in the future. Mm-hmm. I think that's going to be a big thing, right? I don't think that's going away. I know that there were, pieces in the mid 2000s that were probably a little bit before their time, probably not as reliable as they should have been, and were not well regarded, right? But with the technology that we've brought to them nowadays, I think, and the reliability that we've gotten in them, I think it's a really big deal, So,
I mean, that image right there, that's the unit that you were referring to just now, right?
No, that's actually, I can't tell what that is. My screen is small, but I think that's our smaller one. But yeah, we've got a picture in one of those slides. Go to the next one. I might show it on one of them. But these are just kind of background slides. So
sure, absolutely.
I wanted to bring up some things that we get often asked about with some of the questions, and I don't know if you want to kind of go through them or not.
Absolutely.
One of the questions we get asked by retailers a lot is like, Sony was really cool back in the day. That was a big thing, and or Sony Mobile ES, that's always brought up, and we always get asked why we don't bring that back or how we don't get back to like where we used to be. And I can tell you that it's been a kind of a long, cat scratch battle to get back into the mix of things. We, I think since about 2011, 2012, when our current team kind of took over, we've really kind of fought pretty hard to get back in the mix. And I think we've done a really good job the last few years of really producing really good product and really supporting our retailers at a very high level. So that's a big deal to us always, the support side. So the screen that you've got up now, this is probably the thing that's really brought us together with our retail base out there, right? So when we support our dealers, it's a huge deal to us. We feel very good about the way we just attack everything that they need attacked, whether it's online pricing, to tech support, tech questions, compatibility concerns, firmware updates, explanations about technology, instructions on demonstrations, whatever it is. We're always right there. We've got very easy access on the screen there. We've got a dealer dedicated Facebook page where they can go in and ask questions at any time of day or night, even on holidays. And we're always very quick to respond in there. And actually, it's grown so big. It's kind of great where the other retailers are responding as fast as we can. And since they've been groomed so long in that group, they're typically very accurate in our answers, which is great. So
you have all these guys working for you.
It's an awesome thing, right? So, but they've watched us do it for so long, they're just kind of like automatically responding, and that to me speaks volumes about the coaching that we've given them and the consistency of the answers we've been giving as well. So that's a big deal for us. We've got a lot of apps and things that we can kind of support the retailer with. We've got a very cool support by Sony app where they can check for firmware updates right on their phone and get those kind of downloaded for radio. So very cool stuff. Just a lot of things that we do behind the scenes that nobody, like on the consumer side, nobody really sees that. But the retailers are very confident when they're selling Sony product that they're getting the support they need to sell it properly and to support it properly.
To your points, Sony is a very all-inclusive brand. It has its hands in a lot of different things. But what that also means is that there's a tremendous bank of brain power, happening at Sony, and the resources that you have access to by department, of course, but you can see how the technologies and the look and feel and everything kind of interacts with one another throughout the brand. What are some of the key features that that Sony's really confident about with this new kind of resurgence of an introduction of these new products moving forward?
Well, so I think Chris from Alpine brought it up. This is super important. I think people are just consistently looking for the operation of their phone in operation with that radio, right? So the easier and the simpler that connection process and the speed of which the radio kind of responds to your input and can relay the information from your phone to it, that's just huge. I mean, that's a big deal. I think that's what really kind of gave us the jump start we needed several years ago. We were very late to the game introducing our first CarPlay Android Auto Deck, several years behind other manufacturers. And there really was no good explanation, except we just wanted to get it right. And retailers didn't like that answer. So, but at the end of the day, when we launched it, not only was it at a price point where the general consumer could very easily make that decision to get the unit, but it was very easy to install, had all the features that you needed in that unit, and it was just a home run. So I think that really kind of allowed us to turn a corner with that technology. And as we kind of have improved that over time, we've introduced several other units with those same features plus, and we've done very well with them.
Very, very, very cool. What are the next steps? I mean, I can't ask everybody this, or maybe we'll circle back to it, but Sony seems to be one of those brands that take their time and kind of analyze the situation and then do it, like to your point, maybe not first to the table all the time, but when it comes out, it's refined.
It's very frustrating as a Sony employee to always kind of be a little bit late to the party, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
but are you the one bringing the goods? That's the
but I'm usually bringing the food. So, but it's okay. We tend to really study things very thoroughly, sometimes too thoroughly. And while that might delay, an introduction of a new technology to our products, or it might be a little frustrating, especially to our retailer base. Trust me, we hear this all the time, and we're trying to improve that process. But as the retailers get frustrated, that of course gives a chance to my brothers on this call here from the Pioneers, the Kenwoods, the JVCs, and the Alpines to kind of maintain their market share within that retailer as well. So it's not a bad thing for everybody. It's kind of bad for us, but it does spread the love a little bit. But as we roll out those new features, I think it's going to be a really cool aspect for the retailer because they'll be able to rely on it. That's something that's always been very consistent with our products is when the retailer opens a box, puts it in the car, there's really no question of whether it's going to work or not, or whether the customer is going to be happy with it, assuming that the sales process was correct and they gave a good demo and all that stuff. So our next steps, now we've got, I can kind of tiptoe through this subject a little bit, but we've got several new product launches for next year, calendar year 21, and some really big things coming. So I really, really need everybody to pay attention to a very large announcement at Long Beach Knowledge Fest out in California. And there'll be a big product launch there. And then in the Indianapolis Knowledge Fest, there'll be another big product launch. So be paying attention next year for that stuff. Let's get geared up and let's keep supporting Sony.
Awesome. So if you're interested in Sony, or if you're looking at perhaps procuring Sony as a brand that you want to have in your shop, of course, in Canada, Sony is distributed through Gentek International as well. They're the exclusive distributor for Sony Car Audio. Make sure you give those folks at Gentek a call. Chris, thank you so much for shedding some light on the Sony brand and what Sony brings to the table. But don't go away. We're going to bring you back with a little bit of roundtable discussion.
Thanks a lot, Ben.
Wait. Oh, my God. How could I almost forgot bringing Jeff here. He's probably chomping at the bit. Jeff's
just simply going to ask if
I know.
Oh
my God, I can't believe I almost did that. Jeez, that's the first time I've ever done it. I'm sorry, Jeff.
That's okay. I get forgotten all the time. So
no. Not on CMA Live, my friend. Go. It's all yours.
Well, thank you very much, Ben. And Chris, I must say, Sony and you guys are doing a fantastic job as well. I love the way that you guys have designed your head unit operating systems, how easy they are to use. It doesn't take a lot to explain to a customer, how to get through the menus and how to use it. And I hope that you guys will continue to do that in the next line of radios. A couple of questions that I had just from my own business background would be, are you still going to be supporting CD, DVDs going forward, or do you see that as, I know that you guys are very heavy on digital media receivers. Do you see that CD, DVD? Obviously, I know it's going obsolete. Is that something that you're going to discontinue support for or continue to support through 2021?
We have already discontinued support on our AV lineup for CD, DVD. And the existing CD players that you see on our singled-in units, that's the last of those as well.
So it is going to go away. Now, with that being said, I know the AX or the XAV AX210 was the model that had Maestro support. And I know that one, at least for us, it's gone away. We haven't been able to get one in quite some time. And I kind of miss having a Sony radio that I can sell with a Maestro. So for 2021, is there going to be any models, obviously not disclosing anything, but is that something that you guys are going to have a model to support coming up in the future?
Absolutely. Yeah. Okay. It's between Maestro and wireless CarPlay, Android Auto. Those are the three questions we get all the time. And we are working very hard on researching that, building, those prototypes and getting those things tested. We do have several new units launching next year. Mm-hmm. Stay tuned to the product announcements that I mentioned in March. And I think it's May-ish or something for the Indianapolis Knowledge Fest. Mm-hmm. And you'll hear a lot about those types of things then.
Perfect. And then last but not least, I mean, Sony is regarded as having one of the highest audio quality radios in the RSX-GS9. I know that like a lot of the high-end retailers will know what that radio is. I don't know that a lot of people get a lot of exposure to that radio, but what I see in the industry with the multimedia radios is there's been a lot of focus on like Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, and there's been a lot of focus on high-end audio output. But do you see a place in the future for something like an RSX GS9 in an Apple CarPlay or Android Auto radio?
Maybe.
Okay.
Good try though. I like the
effort. So listen, I'll expand just a little bit. I can't implore enough anybody listening to this, to really pay attention to Sony in 2021 because there will be a lot of excitement with that first big announcement around the Long Beach Knowledge Fest time, and from that point forward, the good retailers will be able to kind of piece together in their heads what's coming next.
Okay.
So it'll be very important to pay attention.
Cool. I'm excited. I can't wait to see that news.
Jeffrey, you almost got him. The Yakuta points on the side. All right, Jeff. Thanks a lot. You know what, Chris, guys. Again, stand-up, bang-up job. Thank you for joining us tonight. And we'll circle back to you in just a few. All right, guys. We're halfway through the show. We're going to take a quick 2-minute break. Don't you dare go away because we got a whole lot more head unit coming your way. Sirius XM is where moments happen, and you'll find them here 24/7. In music, talk, sports, comedy, and news. Live and on demand. And they're on in your car, online, or on the app so you won't miss a thing. Visit SiriusXM.ca/never miss a beat. And we're back. Man, the next guy I'm bringing on, he's got a tough job. I got to respect him for this because he has to literally wear two hats. Two hats he does, because what we're about to talk about are two brands, which I guess would be considered brother brands or sister brands, and that is JVC Kenwood. With us tonight is Seth Houston, who's the National Training Manager for JVC and Kenwood. Welcome to CMA Live, Mr. Seth. How are you?
I'm great, Ben. Thanks for having me.
Are you enjoying your colleagues' presentations this evening?
It's wonderful. I'll tell you what, growing up and starting in this business, little over 20 years ago and getting my start in just the fun aspect of it, of DB drag racing and just, seeing these different brand names that come out and then working in the world of retail and literally selling every single brand of product that we're with here. And now I'm amongst them as peers is a little bit mind boggling. It's an incredible experience and couldn't be happier to be joining you tonight and all of them. So it's great.
Well, we are certainly happy to have you with us tonight. Time's a ticking. I'm a big chicken. Let's dive right in. I guess we're going to start with JVC. How about that?
Why not?
All right. So, JVC, I'm not sure. I'm sure everybody knows JVC Kenwood is part of the same company now. I mean, obviously it's been a while. But with JVC, what are the latest offerings for JVC? What is hot right now, as far as features or models coming out of JVC camp?
Yeah. Well, of course, this last year we introduced a lot of the things that people were asking for, and that's wireless connectivity. People want to have the convenience of wireless Apple CarPlay. They want to have the convenience of wireless Android Auto. And, it's interesting because before we launched wireless Apple CarPlay and wireless Android Auto, it's something that, we kind of took the statement of, well, your phone's got to be charging anyways. So what good is wireless Android Auto, or what good is wireless Apple CarPlay? You're going to be plugging your phone in anyways. And from the first moment that I received a sample wireless ready receiver, I never looked back. The experience is incredible. And the truth is, unless you have a really old phone with a really poor battery, you just are not needing to plug it in unless you're on extremely long trips. For those that are just driving normal trips throughout town, which is just about everybody at this state in the game, as we know, it's just an incredible experience to be able to have. And once you have it, you just can't go back. So consumers that are buying cars that may already have this, or maybe one of their cars has wireless connectivity, and then they have an older vehicle that doesn't, the upgrade experience, it's a must. It's a requirement for a receiver for many, many people. So being able to offer several solutions that have the wireless connectivity, and not just limiting the wireless connectivity to Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, but as you see here, we offer wireless mirroring for Android phones. Of course, that's something that is limited by Apple, where somebody wants to be able to mirror their phone screen. They could do that with an HDMI cable on at least the KW-Z1000W within our JVC lineup. So we do have that. So that's the new big excitement, by the way. The KW-Z1000W is our new 10.1-inch receiver. So that's, of course, the latest craze, and that's the newest product that we have released. And that's really, really re-energized the market for us. It's something that, as you mentioned, many vehicles are coming with these larger size screens in their dashboard. And it's something that we wanted to also come to the party too. And we weren't the first, but we may have been one of the first, of course, to think about the idea and come up with the idea. But again, implementing it and making one that makes sense for us and that we feel will have the most or the best effect for retailers to have the greatest chance of being able to sell them and sell the right quantity of them. We feel that we entered at just about the right time. And the feedback that we're receiving from dealers that are installing this receiver is just, it's beyond overwhelming. What we wanted to focus on was a receiver that had an OEM look, but it looked like a radio. It didn't just look like a tablet. We didn't want to just have something that just was all a glass screen and nothing else. We wanted this to look like a receiver, look like our family of receivers. And so we incorporated buttons and technologies that were a part of that.
And with this next slide, obviously a great deal of connectivity.
Huge connectivity. Of course, SiriusXM ready on tons of our receivers, including this new receiver, as well as HD radio built in on the 10.1. Now, K2 technology is something that is really at the heart of JVC because it's something that we created as our corporation. K2 technology is something that was, it was really at the heart. It was designed at and by Victor Studio engineers. So our Victor Studios in Japan, which is part of JVC Kenwood, is something that some of the best musical engineers are a part of. And the idea came from music can't ever be reproduced to its original effect, but when it's compressed without doing something to it. So we had to come up with some sort of an algorithm to be able to more or less expand the frequency range to reproduce the original sound, regardless of what format it was in. And just back in 2017, we optimized this for Bluetooth, which is really the way that people are listening to it now. We brought this out when the conversion was happening to CDs because that was a compressed format. and being able to just continue to merge that and stay relevant with new technologies such as Bluetooth has been great to get that incredible sound quality.
This particular slide really interested me when it comes to gesture control on a JVC screen in a car. What is this all about?
So if anybody's ever had a JVC multimedia receiver that has this, or if you are a retailer, a dealer that's selling JVC, you don't have to go much further than to just simply walk up to the multimedia receiver on your display board and then just twirl your finger and watch the volume go up and down. You know, I like to refer to it as a safer driving experience, because you don't need to look over at the receiver to be able to change the track or turn the volume up and down. We call this gesture touch control, and there's several more functions. You can use multiple fingers to be able to go to a different folder instead of a track, et cetera, et cetera. But the whole idea here is ease of use, simplicity, and driver safety. So gesture touch control is something that continues to live on with our product. And it's something that, again, really differentiates, just like with K2 technology, from our Kenwood family of product. You know, as you can see here on the display, we have, you know, the design of these products is very, very unique. They're different from one another. You can see a lot on the display here when we talk about this live wallpaper. Live wallpaper is something that really reacts to the music in the background. And we do this with our audio receivers too. It has that dancing, fun type effect. And it's a totally different experience than looking at maybe a stagnant background. And that's, again, something that's unique to JVC versus our Kenwood line, as well as these key customizations that pop up on the display. You can use the buttons, the physical buttons on the receiver. You notice there's a function button there that you can program and set to be able to have as more or less a shortcut to be able to do what you want the receiver to do, offering that user customization.
Very, very, very cool. Last but not least, I know JVC has kind of taken the marine and the power sports thing a little bit more seriously recently.
Yeah, and you know, the reason that I wanted to bring this up tonight and I provided this slide is just to really help to demonstrate that the receiver itself, the source unit, you know, it's interesting, is we call this the head unit, but any customer that's out there, they have no clue. That's industry jargon for the most part. People refer to these things as a receiver or as a radio. So we like to typically refer to these as receivers as well, just so, you know, we're speaking to the right audience. And of course, dealers understand head units and go that direction. But the point being here is that they don't stop at the car. They really don't. The opportunities that exist for dealers in the out of car experience, it could be a tractor. Okay, this can be the you know, UTVs. We have this uniquely shaped radio, the KD-MR1 BTS that we had picture there. It's a square radio that can fit in so many different applications, and there really is a huge growth opportunities for dealers to be able to reach a whole new audience in the future and going forward with all sorts of non-vehicle related vehicles. In essence, you know, not just talking about boats here, but again, all sorts of off-road type vehicles.
We've definitely seen that, you know, through our website, CanadianMobileAudio.com. We run all types of installs, and I mean, they're upgrading sound and everything. And you said tractors. We've done tractors. You know, everything you can think of. So it's really cool that JVC caters to that market as well, and as a line, really makes it quite complete. Let's bring on Jeff Bates. Jeff, come on in. What question do you have for Seth about JVC?
The question I have on the JVC line, is the JVC line open to any of the camera products like the Kenwood dash cameras or the higher res camera product that Kenwood offers, or is it all still the standard def cameras on JVC line?
No, I'm glad you brought that up. They are not interconnected. You cannot use a Kenwood dash cam on a JVC camera, a high-res cam on a JVC receiver. They speak a different language in essence. So no is the answer. They are not compatible. Now, we do have our KV-CM30 camera that can be used as, of course, a front or a rear camera. At least on the KWZ-1000W, it can mirror it as it is just a rear camera. Could be used for side view cameras. But cameras are something that are exciting. You know, we actually just, people know JVC cameras. If anybody that's been in the industry regards to JVC, you think of cameras, you think of TVs back in the day.
VHS,
you know,
buddy.
VHS. I mean, that's us. And And so, just we've announced it kind of internally a little bit and to dealers somewhat, but just this next month, we're going to be introducing our first dashboard camera from JVC. So camera technology is important to us, but specific to your question, no, they are not compatible with one another.
Does the JVC lineup offer the same sort of inputs for cameras that Kenwood does in terms of up to 4 inputs, or is it a limited amount on the JVC head units?
Yeah. Depending upon the specific model, up to 4 camera inputs are available on at least 3 of the receivers per model.
Very cool.
All right, Jeff, get a new paper out because we're switching gears to another brand. We're sticking with Seth. All right, so let's dive into it. Kenwood and Kenwood Exelon. What do we got going on with Kenwood?
All right, first thing is I'm going to bring my Canadian counterpart in here, and his name is Seth. And now that we've got him, this was a sweatshirt, a JVC Kenwood sweatshirt that friends gave us from our Canadian team up there when they were down at the Long Beach Knowledge Fest this last year. So thanks to them, but I thought I'd pull that out here. So
I'm sure they appreciate it.
Yeah, happy to represent Kenwood as well. I manage a team of product specialists for both brands. I do a lot of content development for our corporation as well as training. So get the luxury of being able to represent both tonight, which is great.
And the first thing I'm going to say before you get started, I mean, they've done a great job really separating the look and feel. Totally different thing that I'm looking at here as far as design.
Yeah, so it's interesting. The design of these, we have to make them be different. We have to make them have a little bit of a different feel, really a different experience. There's a lot of things that may be similar, but we've got to have a different experience. One of the analogies that we like to use is kind of the Toyota or Lexus. If you say, well, hey, is that Toyota more reliable than the Lexus? Nobody's going to argue with you. No, it's the same thing in many regards. A lot of the mechanics, the back-end mechanics, it shares a lot of those. But the overall experience and what you're able to get by, quote unquote, paying a little bit more money for an extra feature, well, that's what really separates our JVC from Kenwood. So it's a completely different experience. And that's why we're able to be successful with both.
So we're talking sound quality. Are we getting a better sound quality with Kenwood than JVC? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. So what I'm saying is that there are specific models within our Kenwood Exelon reference line that do offer the upper echelon of sound quality. We're actually putting in higher grade audio components. We refer to these as our tuned audiophile grade components. We actually use audio grade power supply capacitors in some of the Exelon product, specifically the Exelon reference receivers. You'll notice that the Exelon reference receivers actually have an X-covered chassis, which has an anti-resonance effect, which helps with sound as well. So there are actually parts and pieces that are implemented into that top level of product, which is why we can charge a premium for those. So although there are some that, of course, would have similar sound, JVC has their K2, which some could feel is unique and great. And we have a different method that we use for our Kenwood products with sound quality. But again, it's just like that Toyota Lexus analogy. We have some of those extra features that you can get into with our Exelon reference line of products for that upper level of sound quality.
Wireless CarPlay, wireless Android. Once again, Sirius XM. I see there's 25 models that support it, which is really cool. HD radio, and you just mentioned the high quality sound parts. Are there any useful driver assistance or safety features when it comes to Kenwood that are above and beyond?
There really are. Several years ago, we introduced our integrated dashboard camera, which really was one of the funnest times. It was really exciting for me because I got to do a lot of hands-on with this, and I got to see how these actual cameras worked in real-world environments and make videos about them. And an integrated dash cam, for all practical purposes, means that you can actually control the camera. It communicates data with the receiver itself, so you have those on-screen touch controls, and it has even added safety benefits such as forward collision avoidance. Those are kind of bonus features, but they're fun features that work with the dashboard camera. Most importantly, it's recording in full high definition. And then, of course, we have standalone dash cameras itself, a big part of our business. But on the display here, you're also seeing some really unique cameras that really aid in driver safety. This year, we introduced our high definition camera, the CMOS-740 HD, which is compatible with our current model of HD screen receivers. And what's so unique about this camera is that it truly is high definition, 720p resolution. The backup experience, by the way, you can use these as a front camera on these specific models, but the backup camera experience is beyond incredible with this camera. You will see things that you normally wouldn't see. It will take the headlight glare and almost completely eliminate the headlight glare. It truly can save a life, I believe, and is that much more beneficial than a non-HD camera. Really being able to add in cameras like that, like our CMOS 320 that allows you to have touchscreen control to change the camera views. Driver safety, a huge part of importance for both of our companies.
Which I guess rolls into this next slide, which shows that it's not just about the source unit when it comes to Kenwood.
Yeah, that's the key. We really want to have solutions that can support customers. Is a one brand solution, does that make sense for a customer? Is that something that's exciting for a customer? And the truth is, it is. People trust single brand solutions. When you can say, hey, I've got a Kenwood system, it's something you can brag about, but it's also, these are products that are designed to work together to get the best in performance. And that's something that's really special about our companies, is that we do offer full brand solutions.
Awesome. Jeff Bates, pull out your notepad, Jeff. What you got for Seth before we let him go?
Asking about the differences. There's so many things that I want to know, but one of the main things. So I've had a chance to play around with the new DMX 1037, the Kenwood large screen, and it was amazing. It's an amazing radio. I love it. And one of the questions I have is, how does it get better with the DMX 1057 XR and then the DNR 1007 XR in terms of moving up to the Exelon series? What is the change in those radios versus the Kenwood version?
Yeah, well, you mentioned it first. The most exciting thing is these just really, they steal the show a lot of the times on display boards. We implemented something called an optically bonded display on all four of these receivers that gives the best of the best, in our opinion, in picture quality. And it just has that initial look. Now, when you take a product like the 1037S, the Kenwood regular line, and step it up to the XR models, you get very specific features. Okay, you're going to step from a 4-volt pre-out to a 5-volt pre-out, so 3 sets of 5-volt pre-out, stepping up one level. And then you're going to get into our Exelon reference tuned audiophile grade components. So that's going to mean an X-covered chassis. So again, you're getting some specific quality features. You're also stepping up to a parametric equalizer. Now that's something that's offered in our JVC as well as our Kenwood, but the Exelon reference products have that parametric EQ, so you can really kick it up a notch, as well as 3-way crossover controls. So fine tune the audio as much as you want. You kick it up one more notch to that DNR 1007 XR that has the built-in Garmin navigation, that also offers your SD card source. And something that's so unique about the built-in navigation is when we are working with Garmin, we continue to work with them because they simply have, we believe, the best and easiest and most recognizable navigation. But it's something that they had to completely redesign because they can't just expand the screen and make it look bigger. They have to provide more information. So you're truly getting so much more information. You come up to an exit, you're getting that photorealistic junction view so that you can easily just see what's coming up on there. And then when coupled with the iDataLink Maestro RR2, as you know, on all four of these receivers, 3 of the Kenwood models, of course, we have that iDataLink Maestro connectivity with the RR or RR2. So you can upsell and do the radar detector controls. But on these models specifically, you actually get accessory controls. So you have the ability to add on external accessories with this. You also have that driver safety experience going to the next level. We have on-screen lane departure that works with your OEM system. So you've got forward and rear collision avoidance, and you've got your lane departure as well, right there on the screen, as well as, of course, the full slew of the iDataLink Maestro features and the exclusive ones such as that we offer. So
I'm gonna say Seth did a really good job answering that question, Jeff.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah. All right, sounds good. Hey, Seth, thank you so much for wearing 2 hats tonight and being able to show us a little bit of JVC as well as Kenwood. I'm going to ask you to hang out back in the studio for a little bit, and we'll bring you back for a little dialogue at the end. All right?
Okay. Thanks, Jeff and Ben.
Thanks a lot, Seth. All right. One more brand to go, guys, and then we're going to bring everybody back for an interesting roundtable to close out the show. And this brand, of course, we cannot do a head unit show without incorporating, of course, Pioneer Electronics. Tonight we have the Canadian national trainer, Robert Money. I know that on the poster we had Ted Cardenas that was supposed to join us. Something happened personal to him. He couldn't make it, of course. We had Team Canada step in. They're only Canadian on. What's going on, Robert? Welcome to the show.
Good. Thanks for bringing me in, by the way. So it was a last-minute call, but yeah, I'm 100% with you tonight, guys.
Of course you are. I mean, you've known about Pioneer. You've been at Pioneer for a very long time. We met many years ago. But tonight we want to talk about what's happening right now with Pioneer. Connectivity seems to be the theme of the night. I hear all the brands talking about connectivity. Yeah. And I forgot who said it, but it's true. Before you walk into a store, you see the soundboards and you probably want to buy, the source unit or the head unit that either A, looked the best to you, that felt the best with the buttons, or that sounded the best. But now, a lot of the times, the customer's like, how does my phone connect to this? So what does Pioneer do as far as connectivity?
Actually, I think the best way to describe Pioneer for customers will be as the company that will bring you, I think, the most connectivity offer on the market. So we prefer to have an agnostic approach, if we can say it this way, where we can offer to the customers either wired or wireless CarPlay, same situation for Android Auto. For the guys who own a smartphone, for sure, because a smartphone is part of our life right now. So it's even our second brain. So those phones are such important for us. In some situation, we see some stupid video over the web where the guys are taking risk, and the first reaction to the guys is to look at his phone if it's okay. So it looks like that phone is more important than our body, kind of. So we can go away with those type of offer without talking about those connectivity for the people, no matter if this is for millennial or even older people. Now everybody use phone on daily life, so we need to work with those.
What's crazy is that the expectation is when you sit into a vehicle that you should be able to connect to the car. That is the expectation now, really and truly. My mother expects to play her playlist in my car when she steps into my car. You know what I mean? Like, that's just the expectation. So anyhow, I'm sorry. Keep going.
Yeah, no problem. You're totally right. And that experience need to be really transparent for the user. So the user don't want to be worried about connecting the things or not. So that's why we bring since a couple of generations now wireless connectivity for those type of features such as CarPlay and Android Auto. So no matter if you are doing a long ride where you need to charge it, you will go USB. And if you do a quick short ride, then you go wireless because it's more convenient for you to go this way. And by the way, from a previous communication we had earlier tonight, we bring this here with the current 600 series, a USB-C connector, which bring a 3 amps charging to those smartphones. So we're able to bring a quick charge for the guys, no matter if it's the new smartphone just released from Apple or the most recent smartphone from Android. Okay. But things about CarPlay and Android are great. They're still really important for us. But what we think right now is to be more open-minded, not just talk about car, not just think just about what's happening in the car. So we use the phone right now to control everything we have in a connected house. As personal example, at home, I have my system connected through Control4 system, which control pretty much all audio, video stuff I have in my house, do welcome things, and when I do my personal code on the keypad, or I can validate from my phone if my garage door is open or not. So those type of things that I can do and work with my phone, which is in my pocket, for Pioneer now makes sense to bring that type of integration in the car. So this year with the 600 series, we introduce a specific built-in chipset within those receivers. So it's not relying on a smartphone app. This is really a specific chipset built in our receivers that work totally transparent. And the way we build it's really 100% part of that ecosystem. So my receivers in the car now is able to control every single thing I have at home. So I can drive the car in the morning because I'm in a rush for daily commute or whatever, and I can say, Alexa, did I close my garage door? And she will just reply, and I just can say back, okay, Alexa, close my garage door, instead of driving back home in a way to do it. So it's really easy to do and integrate. And top of it, because we implemented this specific chipset in those units, we are able to control pretty much all key features from that unit directly with voice control. So instead of having to park the car aside when I want to do some EQ adjustment or bass boost or something, I only need to say, Alexa, ask Pioneer to set my bass to medium or increase my bass, and it will set the things right away without having me to put the car aside, apply the handbrake, go to the menu, and do that long sequence that we all know we need to do. So it's pretty much quicker, safer to do. And it gives me the opportunity to have a full integration of that unit. So really, Alexa this year is really a big plus for us, especially if we look at the market share that system currently have. I think it's close to 70% of North American household to have Alexa at home in a way to control different type of things. So it's really, really, really cool features. I can even call my wife by dropping features that pretty much work as a wireless intercom between my car and any eco device I have at home. So it's really creating a bubble, integrating my car with every single thing that I have, from the smartphone in my pocket to the things I have at home.
Very, very cool. Obviously, with this slide, big screen again, floating screen. Tell us about this.
As all the other guys, bigger is better. That's the trend. Maybe if we look at the size as big as that, 10 inches, maybe we wonder if the driver need to wear bigger glass now in a way to drive carefully. But yeah, so bigger is better. So we introduced this year a two floating screen solution. So one is the 10 inches we see right now on the screen, and we have the little brother, which is the 9 inches screen. Those are basically the same, and we also do offer a different version of those floating screen in a standard short chassis doubled in for 6.8 inches, so standard fit, and also a custom integration unit with a 9 inches screen, where we did a partnership with Metra. Actually, we are offering close to, I think it's 40 different dash kit that Metro are actually offering on the market that can fit different receivers from our custom series that are ranging from 6.8 inches screen up to the 9 inches screen that we just released. So depending on the car, let's say a floating screen Mazda 3 or the recent F series or Ram. So we can fit those type of car really well, no matter if it's custom look or if you want to go like big screen, floating screen like this. With the example, image actually is a bit small, but that will give you a great idea of all the exercise we did when we did the mechanical design of the unit to being able to give the best toolbox for the installer and the most flexible installation things we can offer to the market. So it's based on a single DIN chassis where I can use in most car now we know that we can use a double DIN. So basically with a double DIN dash kit with an empty pocket on one side, I can fit those head unit on the top section or lower section. I can slide the monitor section on the left, on the right, up or down, and tilt the screen. So virtually, as soon as you'll be able to install a single DIN receivers in a car, you'll be able to fit that screen, even if it's a 10-inch screen. So
makes sense to me. I like the options that it gives. You know what I mean? Like it really opens up the options and the different ways that you could apply.
Yeah,
or
if
tell
you
a
need to
customer
clear
that's
a vent
depending
on
the
one side,
situation.
you just slide the monitor on that side. And you clear the vent or the push to start thing.
All right.
If you think, you mentioned the tractor with the guys previously. So if you think about the big van with the single denier radio near the ceiling.
Oh,
so
right.
I can install it,
down.
slide the face on the downside, tilt it, and I'm done. So I'm able to install a 10-inch screen in that big truck now.
We're going to round out your presentation with this final slide: hybrid and smartphone receivers. It seems to be a hot topic.
That is really different thinking. So for young people or the people who can't afford a touchscreen, so we design since 3 years now. So we have time to improve and do a lot of work on the app side of that management. So every single unit, no matter if it's a doubled in, singled in, Mac-free unit, or the smartphone integration with the SPH that you see on the left side of the slide, which is basically a smartphone cradle that you
a cradle. Interesting.
So, so if you don't have the smartphone, it looks like a old 8-track cassette. So
I'm sure that's what the designers meant it for.
So you just need to pull the cradle. You can install and secure your smartphone. Even the iPhone Max will fit there, no problem. And the way it works, it will create an ecosystem with a hybrid touchscreen system by using the smartphone once it's locked in the cradle.
I kind of like that.
Yeah, so it works wired or wirelessly. So every single features, you can bring the map by pushing the map button on the single DIN receivers, which is a mechanical button, and
it'll show up on the screen.
The map on the iPhone or the Android phone based on the selection you did. It's also integrate text-to-speech features. So if you're receiving messaging system, Messenger, iMessage, name it, we're compatible.
Hands-free.
It will do a text-to-speech thing.
Jeff Bates, come on in. Let's close this out proper with Robert Pioneer. What you got for him?
So quick question. With a lot of the new vehicles, like GM vehicles, for example, coming with onboard Wi-Fi, on the new large screen radios that have that Wi-Fi capability, can you utilize the vehicle's Wi-Fi as the network connection, or does it have to be a smartphone?
No, you don't need to have specifically a smartphone. As soon as you are able to access that Wi-Fi sources as a hotspot, so you just need to search for new hotspot or search for a Wi-Fi source, type the pin in the system, and it will recognize and sync together, and it will record it. You can even add a second if you want. So as an example, if you have your OEM Wi-Fi hotspot, you do the link together, they pair together, and you do later the same thing with your tethering features on your iPhone. As an example, if for some reason you have a power down on the OEM system, it will look back for the second system in the memory, and it will sync to that hotspot as a second spot. So you are able to work with it without any problem.
Very cool. Very cool. That's awesome.
Is that it for you? Or you got one more?
And then with regards to the Maestro, the RR2, with the RR2 having those accessory controls that are available right now that you can program, and you can use the steering wheel as your accessory switch. I know with Kenwood, they've now brought the software out on the big screen radios that you can use the touchscreen to control your accessories. Is there going to be software or firmware available on the Pioneers to do the same thing?
We partially did with the last update we did with the 1.3 version. We had some extra features that were not initially in the unit when we released the unit, and there's more to come. So it's an evolutive system. So you need really to look at the current 600 series as a really powerful system where no matter if it's the entry-level wireless pieces, the 4660, which is the 6 by 8 inches screen, up to the 10 inches, they are sharing the same platform. The only difference is mechanical form factor of those units. So because we shared that platform, we designed the things to be evolutive and had some type of features like the one that you mentioned. That's the same thing for the Maestro Access system, which is pretty much the same as the Maestro RR. Mitra have with the Access system pretty much the same interface for data interface. Top of that, they will be able to integrate with TRNS in a way to do a quick interface when you do the installation. So instead of having only one good guys with us, we have two good guys with us, which bring more opportunity to the installer. So if for some reason or other you have supply issues on one side, then you can go the other way and you have a backdoor for your installation.
Perfect.
So that's great.
Very cool. Awesome.
Good. Thank you, Jeffrey. Robert, I'm just going to put you in the back studio and we'll bring you back real quickly for our roundtable. Hey, guys, we're just going to take one more small commercial break as we get ready. Don't go away. We have some questions from installers from all over the country, a couple of questions from dealers as well. And we got one or two that came up in the feed that I definitely want to bring to their attention. You're watching CMA Live presented by SiriusXM. We'll be right back. Make sure to check out SiriusXM.ca/SXV300 to learn about all the amazing benefits of adding the Connect Vehicle Tuner to your SiriusXM Ready car stereo, including how to save 2 ways with 3 months free, plus free tuner after $80 rebate. And we're back. We're going to get to it right away. This is a cool part of the show where I like to bring back the guests and kind of go through some of the questions, some that we've prepared, that we've been able to receive from a couple key industry people, and some that have just happened live as we've been on air. I'd like to bring back Paul from SiriusXM real quick, if that's possible. We got a question that came in. Hey, Paul, how's it going? Thanks for hanging out with us. Real important question. What, other than the music, what are the key features, or what is the star power that could help me sell SiriusXM? That was the question.
So that's actually a great question, because in the beginning you would always ask, what music do you listen to? Now it's basically, what do you listen to? Because you have every sporting event you could possibly imagine on SiriusXM, except curling, which I know is very big up in Canada. We don't have that.
Curling? You have a curling channel? Maybe in the Canadian
No, we
version.
don't.
I don't know.
We don't.
Darn it. But you know what? I actually found a slide here that we can put up here that I think will help with what you're explaining here. Check that out. There you go.
Exactly. I mean, you have every team, NFL, NBA, NHL, NHL, very popular in Canada, I understand. You have every news channel. And the best thing about our news channel is it's not a news channel, it's news channels. So you can hear the same story in different views, depending on which one of these channels you listen to. And let's be honest, you've got Howard Stern, who is the master interviewer. I mean, he is absolutely amazing. And then, and Ben, that, we do so many live events. We have so many artists, actors, everyone coming into our studios and actually doing live interviews or live concerts.
I was just going to say, yeah. It's such a my son, who's an aspiring musician, he loves watching the live performances on Howard Stern, and that's available online with your subscription. You know what I mean? You can go see all that stuff.
Yeah, most of our subscription packages include streaming, and the most, and obviously much older than your son. We did something last year when Def Leppard came into Howard Stern and played live, and I remember listening to it and then so excited to actually go home and then re-watch it on the app, which was absolutely a phenomenal.
I only had one disappointment with that performance, was that he didn't have the full drum set with him. I watched that whole thing. That was awesome. He just didn't, he was just doing the shakers, but anyhow, those were great. I think you answered the question, Paul. And, guys, look on the website. Go to SiriusXM. There's a ton of value there, especially with that SXV300 offer that we got going on. Again, we'll post that at the end. But there you have it. Paul, thank you so much. You're a gentleman.
No problem.
We had a question come in from Colin McAndrew from Brian Reimer out in Winnipeg, one of our top installers in the country, and it is directed to Pioneer. So, Robert, pay attention to this question as we pull this up.
Hey guys, Colin McAndrew here from Brian Reimer Audio in Winnipeg, Manitoba. This question's for Pioneer. I was wondering what vehicle coverage we can expect to see in the future for the 8-inch tablet-style radios and their respective Metro Dash kits.
There you go,
Good
Rob.
question. Good question. Actually, we have, if I look at the count right here, we have over 30 pieces in partnership with Metra that fit the 8 inches screen. We also have close to 10 dash kit, like the Mazda CX-3 as an example that I mentioned earlier, that will fit the 6.8 and will install the custom modular system that we have. For the dealers who don't know about those custom series from Pioneer, we have a 6.8 inches, the 5500 Next, which is an 8 inches screen, and we just released the 6600, which is a 9-inch screen. That will pretty much look the same as the 8 inches screen, but will integrate all the wireless features, Amazon Alexa, from the 600 series, as well as giving you a bigger and HD screen in a custom integration. So actually, yeah, 30 kits, about 30 kits for the 8-inch screen, 10 for the smaller unit. And even that smaller unit can fit any double DIN dash kit. So virtually all the dash kit that you can find that will fit a double DIN will work as well. And closely work with Metra people in a way to bring more dash kit for those units, including the 6.8 up to the 9 inches. So more to come. More to come.
Right.
We're working on it.
Thank you for that great answer, Robert, and thank you for the question, Colin. Next question we have up, it's coming out Courtney, BC way. Marty Adamscheck with a great question for Kenwood.
Hey guys, Marty Adamscheck from Honors Electronics in Courtney. My question is regarding the Kenwood 10-inch screen. Is there any chance of this moving to a single DIN chassis, just making it easier for installation options?
Yeah, so of course, that's something that we looked into in developing this product, looking at a shorter chassis double DIN, looking at doing a single DIN. And of course, it'll be the direction that I believe that we move to in the future, is some sort of a different chassis rather than a full DIN chassis, possibly a double DIN shallow mount. It could go a number of different directions, but in essence, our key is to make it more and more installer friendly, but without sacrificing the structural integrity of the product. One of the benefits that we found by accident is that they seem to be more structurally sound in the dashboards by having that full double DIN chassis. So I think it's probably a better method to go with maybe a shallower mount double DIN based upon the size of the receiver, rather than just have a small single DIN. Having a little bit more structure in some way, shape, or form would be my guess as to what you'll probably see from us going forward. We've already introduced, of course, double DIN shallow mount that have just most of them just under a 3-inch mounting depth. So yes, more installer friendly methods for receivers going forward is definitely a method you'll see from us.
There we go. Thank you very much, Seth, and thanks for bringing the question. Now, of course, to Marty, thanks for recording that question for us. The next two questions to round out the evening, and we're going to have a little bit more of an open discussion on this and try to get a couple of the brands involved in the conversation. The first question comes to you from our 2019 Installer of the Year, Mr. Tim Bailey. Let's bring that up from BC.
Hey, Tim Bailey here from Trick Factory Customs out in British Columbia with a question for the head unit manufacturers. So with everybody coming out with tablet-style decks now, seems like everybody has one in their lineup. Is this something that, as a manufacturer, you guys are going to be expanding, doing a lot more of, with like more simpler models or even more fancier models, larger models, stuff like that? We don't get into a lot of the basic deck and tube business, so a lot of the installations that we do with head units are going with the tablet style. in more higher end exotic European cars, stuff like that. We've also started doing some of the Android based direct fit model decks, like for Mercedes and Porsche, stuff like that. Just wondering, feature wise, what basically sets the main Japanese brands apart from these Android, eBay type based, Amazon based products that are coming in, because so far they seem to be a pretty decent quality for the money. Thanks.
Well, there you go, guys. That's kind of a big question, and it's a question that is talked about a lot, especially in a lot of Facebook groups, right? You see these specials come up. He mentioned Amazon, eBay, and other sources as well. Let's start with Chris Bula from Sony. How do you feel about those remarks as far as those type of devices coming to play?
Yeah, so he actually made a couple statements there, so I want to address both. The tablet kind of real estate that we're looking for with DeX will continue to increase, both in size and just the variety that I know we will have. And I also believe that the other manufacturers, they've already got some units out, and I think that's going to be a thing that kind of exists going forward. And then he brought up something interesting towards the end of his comment about what separates, he said the Japanese brands, but really the core main manufacturers here between us and I think he's talking about like the Amazon and the eBay type Android units, right? And that's a pretty important one. That's a good question. That's pretty important to address. I think it was Chris at Alpine earlier that brought up a lot of the testing that they do to really kind of make sure that these products are going to last in a vehicle. I know we're no stranger to that. I know the Kenwood team and the Pioneer team, they both work very hard on these types of things. And I think long-term reliability, I think the quality of the components inside, I think the build quality of the radios themselves, I think those really stand apart still to this day between our units and some of those aftermarket units. They might be less expensive. They might have some cooler features with the Android interface. However, what you'll typically get into is an older version of Android that's not really supported a lot of the apps that the consumer is looking for, and of course the reliability of the software, the lack of updates and things like that. So there's a lot of things to be considered when you're trying to put a solution like that in the dashboard of a car, and I think we do a pretty good job of solving that for you guys.
Very, very cool. I'd like to also give Chris Tegu from Alpine the opportunity to kind of expand on what Chris just said here.
Really,
and Chris
am I on there?
There you are, Chris.
So yeah, Chris really hit it on the head. I mean, it's when it comes to going larger, obviously the trend is there. People want it to be easier to interact with their head units, and going with the larger display usually helps you achieve that. The comment about the cheaper Android Auto type or the Android based head units and things like that that you can usually find inexpensively. Again, Chris mentioned. Just like I said, it's all about testing and making sure that these products are reliable in the car. I'm sure many of you have taken the smartphone and put it on your dash, and it won't turn on because it's overheated. You never get that with a manufactured car audio manufactured brand like us. It'll always work in the car. And when it comes to like the UI and things like that, when it comes to these Android brands, they tend to try and stuff as much as they can in that head unit. And an average when you're interacting with your vehicle when you're driving, you have about 2 seconds of time to actually capture what's on that head unit. So, it's really difficult when you have a ton of stuff on that screen to really interact safely. And that's really part of one of our goals as well, is to be safe in the car with a large display. So hopefully that answers your question.
Oh, very, very cool. No, I think it definitely did. I mean, at the end of the day, we're talking about the difference between, I don't want to say a questionable manufacturer, but certainly a manufacturer that's putting out product without the pedigree, the R&D and the engineering that's going behind a lot of these products. I'd like to bring Seth up from Kenwood JVC, and he was doing a lot of messaging with regards to connectivity. I think a lot of people buy these Android type devices because it's easy. It's you can just connect. It's Android. I understand it. I don't need to spend the big money on the unit. What do you have to say to that?
Yeah, I mean, going directly into that type of a receiver, first and foremost, going forward with vehicles, OEM integration and Maestro connectivity these sub-brand receivers are not Maestro compatible, and that it's almost a must going forward to be able to not only expand upon but retain the vehicle functionality, core functions of the vehicle itself. So first and foremost, I data link Maestro integration above and beyond anything else. Secondly, everything else that everyone else has mentioned already, the build quality of these products is the utmost importance. And again, I'm going to revert back to selling as a retailer previously. I could have always sold lower quality products, cheaper products that are out there. It's about the user experience. They don't perform the way that our level of products and these other brands here today perform. The customer is not going to be happy with the overall experience. And so being able to provide the full experience, the build quality, the retention of their OEM functionality with Maestro compatibility, just a few key points to separate us from those types of products.
Very, very strong points. Engineering, R&D, compatibility. Robert from Pioneer, I know that you were, talking a lot about compatibility and OEM integration. So, what do dealers have to do when they're dealing with customers that are potentially losing sales?
That is moving pretty fast, So if you look just for smartphone, just look at how many updates you do on a weekly basis on your Apple devices or your Android devices. So you need to have something that is really reliable on communication between the smartphone and the unit in a way to give you a good access and quick access, like the guys mentioned. We're talking about reliability, like the other guys mentioned. We're talking about connectivity in the car as well. But as an installer, you need to think that if you're selling those pieces and those pieces are breaking, you will need to spend time and money in a way to uninstall those units, in a way to do good services to your customers. So this is direct loss in your pocket as a dealer to go this way. So I think it's a pretty risky way to do it. So you have for what you're paying for. If it's cheap, don't expect to have sky high performance from those units. So it's going to be risky. And those Android devices are mostly previous generation design from Chinese guys who do something based on a system that is a kind of a station wagon of a car. It's not a sport car. It's not a pickup truck. So it's not intended to do that. Not to mention the hardware side of that things. So this is a pretty big chemical things that you need to take care of it. And last but not least, it's connectivity of all those things, not just connectivity of your smartphone. So think about Alexa things that I mentioned. Think about the other accessories. So what do you want to do if you want to connect your Sirius XM?
Well, that is a great question, and I was going to bring Paul back to that real quick. Paul, do any of these devices? I'm putting you on the spot here. These devices that we're talking, are they Sirius XM ready?
No, none of them are. These head unit partners that we have, like the Pioneers, the Kenwoods, Sonys, they know the extensive testing that we go through with their products to make sure that they work 100% with Sirius XM. And I can tell you, any of these tablets coming from China they're just not Sirius XM compatible, which, as pointed out by everyone, that makes them somewhat unreliable. And of course, you can't add Sirius XM, so there you go.
There you go.
No
Deal breaker.
channels.
Deal breaker.
No 17 channels of Christmas music. So there you go.
Hey, okay. You know what? Ricky Lima put me to a challenge without telling you, to try to stump you, and I have someone to help me with this. It just so happened he asked a great question. Check the screen. Answer this.
Hold on.
Does anyone know what the amount of data is used streaming Sirius XM via CarPlay or Android Auto compared to Spotify? Is it more or less, I think, is the question he's asking.
Well, that's actually a great question. It's also a trick question because it depends which setting you have on the app. Because the app allows you to do normal, good, or better. Now, if it's the better quality, then it is more. But if it is the normal or regular, then it is probably comparable or less. Do I know the exact bit rate and everything? No. But I can tell you that when you go to the best setting on our app, it is going to be more.
Paul, I knew you had the answer. Thank you very much. I got one last question to round out the night before we let these kind gentlemen go. And it is a question that's coming from one of our retailers out west. Let's bring up the video from Keith.
Hey, welcome to Sounds Good Auto. We here at Sounds Good sell a lot of head units. I just ordered another 75 grand worth because the chip factory in China is dead. So because that fire burned for so many hours and so many days, we here in Canada would like to know what the repercussions are going to be. Are you going to have a new chip manufacturer? Will there be a lot of change? Will there be just a huge backlog and head units like these wonderful things? Or will it just be business as usual? Just move on to the next factory and make it all good again?
You know, if you're in the 12-volt game, there's no way around it. Everybody's heard about the fire and the destruction that happened with this factory in China with the chipset. So what better timing than to have these brands maybe shed some light? You know, I know that it's a complex situation, but I'd like to bring back everybody and you know, let's ask the question. Let's see if we know what's going on. Let's go ahead and bring back Chris Bula again from Sony. Chris.
Yeah. So yeah, I think the entire industry right now is really trying to evaluate the status of that. That's not only impacted head units, but many other audio components, not only in the mobile audio industry, but also home audio as well. So I think there's a lot of evaluation going on. I know from a brand standpoint here at Sony that none of our current models are affected. So our supply will not be affected on that. But on our new models, it may be affected, and we're still trying to determine that.
Oh, very good. Let's also hear from Chris from Alpine on the subject.
Thanks. So, yeah, as I mentioned, basically, we don't really know the scope. As Chris was saying, we're still kind of waiting to understand what the approach is going to be. How much of our units are affected, if any, at this point. So, once we start getting more information from the company, the manufacturer, we'll be able to get more information to our dealers. But at this point, it's pretty early for us to know.
Very fair enough. And how about from the JVC and Kenwood camp?
Yeah, it's definitely something that we've been actively talking to our contacts with. One of the great things is we are a worldwide company, and we do have factories that build products in several different countries. And so, it's obviously a concern to us. It's a concern to everybody. We don't have all of the details to be able to provide at this stage in the game, but it's something that, with history right now, it may be the most important thing that people just look at what's happened in the last many months. It could be something that ports get shut down to stop products from coming in, and this wouldn't even be anything in relation to that. So who's to know what's to come in the future? So let's learn from history, and as retailers, important to stock up on what makes sense for you and your comfort level, and just understand that as much as we could predict, even if we said that all or no receivers were going to be affected by this, it could be something else that takes things up a different direction. So hopefully we can just keep moving along.
Very good. Thank you very much, Seth. Last but not least, Mr. Robert from Pioneer.
Yep. As most of the guys said, I think it's really too early stage to being able to confirm something to the guys. We are for sure monitoring those things. We are in close communication with the United States team as well as Japan. But for now, we need to confirm what it is. We know that it will have to some point some impact somewhere, not necessarily to Pioneer, but I'm talking more about the entire business industries. But again, it's really early to being able to confirm something where we can say that it will be the case. So,
well, I'll tell you what, if there's any news, we'll be the first to break it out here on Canadian Mobile Audio. Hey, I'm just going to take a quick second here to bring back all our guests this evening. Guys, gentlemen, thank you so much for being with us tonight. You've shared a lot of information. I hope we didn't take up too much time, but with the time that we had, I think we were very efficient about it. And I think the listeners certainly appreciate it. So I bid you guys a good evening. Thank you so much for joining us, and hopefully we'll get you back on another episode of CMA Live one day soon. Have a good night.
Thanks, man.
Take care.
Thank you, guys.
All right. this has been a wealth of knowledge. And of course, I want to just close by bringing in my trusty co-captain here. I mean, you're in the background. I'm doing most of the talking, but for some reason, it feels like when you talk, it means more than when I talk.
You're making me blush there, Ben. Thank you.
I'm just the fill. Really, that's what it is. You're the meat. I'm just the crust. But anyhow, what is the takeaway from this episode, Jeff?
The takeaway is, as I say with a lot of these episodes, the excitement is there, and it looks like 2021 is going to be a great year. Every one of these manufacturers has something very unique as a selling proposition, and I love that they all bring these unique features and these unique sides of their business to us as dealers' business. And I think that it's basically got something for everybody in each one of these head units. So one of the reasons why I got into this industry was it brought excitement to me to be able to bring great audio experiences to customers, and I think we can continue to do that with these manufacturers.
I'm going to add to what you just said, and that question that Tim Bailey brought up rings, because we would not be able to do what we did tonight with brands that make those type of products.
No,
yet when we called on the pioneers of this world, the Sonys, the Alpines, the Kenwoods, the JVCs, they answered, and here they were. They showed up. They showed up for the industry. They showed up for the customers, which are the dealers and the installers. So
100%, they support us.
Thank you for joining us tonight. We'll see you on the next one, bud.
Thank you. Have a great night.
Real quick before my close, got to bring back one more time the crazy offer that Sirius and the Paul Truman was on Sirius XM with that offer. Want to bring it back on the screen. There it is. 15%, boys and girls. 15%. You got 2 days to do it. Contact your authorized Sirius XM distributor to place your order on SXV 300 units. Make sure you use the promo code. Once again, we'll make sure we put that post up on our Facebook page so that you have all the deets and you could take advantage of this unprecedented discount. Well, folks, we've come to the end of another great episode. Next episode, 2 weeks time, not far away, is going to be OEM integration. I think it's a great follow-up to what we went through tonight, and we have great guests. We've got iData Link that will be in the house, WaveTech that's going to be in the house, PAC, Metra, Nav TV. You heard it. All the brands that we need to be there will be there. 2 weeks time, OEM integration on December 2nd. Same bat channel, same bat place. Of course, make sure to check out all our updates on our Facebook page, as well as our Instagram. And if you haven't checked out already, CanadianMobileAudio.com is where it's at. Once again, CMA Live, presented by SiriusXM. I'm your host, Ben Wu. We'll see you in 2 weeks. Until next time, we connect.